My Nature Island brothers and sisters, Happy Independence 2019. When we began the sacred journey of managing our own affairs as an independent nation 41 years ago, we fittingly chose to call our island home the Isle of Beauty, the Isle of Splendor, the Isle to all so sweet and fair. God's blessed land of rivers and valleys and hills and mountains and abundant gifts of green. With great pride and joy, we raised our flag. We were ready, willing and able to lead our country and manage its relationships with the family of nations. The blessing of independence raised great and yes, reasonable expectations of a righteous, just, equal opportunity society, an economy that works for the benefit of all, quality health care and education, and life in harmony with the natural environment. Unfortunately, in all of these fundamentals of Nature Island development, we have regressed. 41 years later, we stand powerless in the face of galloping unemployment, grinding poverty, disappearance of the middle class, rising crime, and degradation of social services. We have a spiraling non-communicable disease epidemic. We have lost over half of our agricultural output in the last 15 years. We are burdened with the biggest brain drain per capita in the Caribbean, and with the most public money available to any government in the history of Dominica. A 20-year Labour Party administration failed to build an international airport. It failed to successfully address the vital national interests of education and health care for all. But this 20-year-old Labour Party administration has enjoyed a spectacular success in destroying the freedom and independence of the people of Dominica, for which our forefathers fought and died. We cannot be an independent nation of dependent people whose freedom of choice and freedom of action is persistently under attack. Our electoral process, the system through which we elect government of the people, by the people, for the people, the backbone of our democracy, lacks legitimacy. It does not comply with international standards and has no guarantees for free and fair elections. For 15 years, the Labour Party administration of Roosevelt Skerrit has denied the people the independence, privilege, of freedom of choice and freedom of action to secure basic electoral reform. For 15 years, the Labour Party administration has relentlessly assaulted the spirit of independence by persecuting and brutalizing political opponents, victimizing critics, and crushing dissent. This year, it was revealed during the independent season that operatives of the Labour Party hired criminals from foreign lands to plant false evidence at the home of the leader of the parliamentary opposition in a malicious attempt to implicate him in high crimes and misdemeanors. There can be no independence in a country where members of the executive branch of our system of parliamentary governance use state resources, money belonging to the people of Dominica, to finance criminal conspiracies to undermine and destroy members of the legislative branch in that very same system of parliamentary governance. The single biggest challenge of governance for the best Dominica will be to eliminate the threat posed to our sovereignty and identity as a nation. These two elements, sovereignty and identity, are now up for sale, and by extension, our national psyche is in the global marketplace, being traded to hell in handbaskets of passport money by friends of the Skerrit regime. The very element within our national revenue stream that seeks to improve our quality of life is now the very element that has brought the darkest clouds over our Nature Island space. The job of leaders is to solve problems and not to create them. 41 years later, we mourn the loss of Ross University, a major income earner for the people of Dominica, handed over to another country by the Prime Minister and his foreign advisors. Dominicans must ask, why did Ross have to leave, and who are the real beneficiaries of this major loss to the people of Dominica? Dominica is in danger. After decades of independence, we are now on the verge of recolonization. Our forefathers earned the right for this country to be governed by its sons and daughters. And today, those who govern are selling our national identity by allowing their foreign friends, under the guise of citizenship by investment, to illegally collect and corruptly spend billions of dollars belonging to our people for their personal gain. As your elected parliamentary opposition leader, I weep for what is happening to our country. The flag, the coat of arms, the national anthem, the national dress. What do these symbols of nationhood mean 41 years later? Silence in the face of a one-man decision to deny basic electoral reforms? That impoverished citizens yearning for a better life can be imprisoned by ruling party politicians behind the bars of need for food, clothing, and shelter assistance provided by the state, while foreigners are allowed to plunder billions from the public purse? Is that the independence we celebrate? With our own passport money, foreign friends of Roosevelt Skerrit are deciding who will contest elections for a political party that has failed the people miserably in government for 20 years. How many hundreds of millions will be spent to buy the election and keep him in office against the will of the people? The colonizers in training are deciding all by themselves how much of our passport money will come into Dominica and how much they will keep overseas. Which foreign contractors will receive billions of dollars from our passport sales to build public facilities and build out the economic infrastructure, while local contractors and service providers suffer, deliberately deprived of opportunities to earn a living from using their talents and skills in the development of their own country. Two executives of Range Capital Partners, developers of the Kempinski-branded resort to the Cabritz in Portsmouth, have smiled all the way to their foreign bank accounts with $60 million US dollars, 163 million EC dollars, $81.5 million each from commissions on the passport sales that finance the hotel and their share of the difference between passport sales and the cost of construction. A third foreign individual of Italian extraction, Skerrit's ambassador for oceans and seas at Dominica's UN mission, recently succeeded in getting a US court to compel Range Capital Partners in Dominica to provide him with the accounts for the construction of the Kempinski Resort so he can properly calculate his multi-million-dollar share of the development profit. In Dominica, the 20-year Labour Party administration has refused to account for $1.2 billion from Dominica's CBI program for the financial year 2018-2019, which the Prime Minister claims was collected for public housing. His sweetheart deal with Montreal Management Company has given the owner of that company exclusive custody and control of billions of dollars from the sale of Dominica's passports and absolute above-the-law responsibility for public housing in particular and public service buildings in general. In the absolute disgrace of our life and times in independence, under the watch of the Labour Party administration, billions of dollars belonging to the people of Dominica are being illegally privatized and diverted to the purchase of ocean-going yachts, global range jets, and multi-million-dollar mansions for foreign controllers of Dominica's passport business. While foreigners are doing as they please with our passport billions, they have directed the Labour Party leader to corruptly use a few of our passport millions to buy votes, to steal another election with handouts, coolouts, and sea war. That is the state of our independence 41 years later, and after 20 years of this Dominica Labour Party administration. An economy that is not working for the people. The people's money under the absolute control of foreigners. A struggle to survive that is getting harder and harder. People trapped in poverty and dependency. A youth unemployment crisis. Low wages, rising cost of living. The independence to run our own affairs that we gleefully embraced on November 3rd, 1978 is working wonders for the multi-billion-dollar benefit of the foreign friends of Roosevelt's carrot. It is not working for the farmers, the fishermen, the nurses, the teachers, the police officers, the public officers, the doctors, the lawyers, the businessmen and women, the shopkeepers, the disappearing middle class, the clerks, the carpenters, the masons, the electricians, the plumbers, the rich, the poor, the unemployed, the youth, the elderly, the leaders of church, the nature island people of Dominica from all walks of life know and understand that in the last 20 years, we have lost our way. They want change. Not fake change, real change to get us back on track with building the nature island of Dominica for the benefit of all the nature island people of Dominica. In this regard, we will lead and manage with respect for the democratic right of the people. We will govern by the rule of law, include people in a policy formulation and decision making. We will limit the time in office for any prime minister to 2 consecutive terms, and we'll establish a fixed election date every 5 years. We will introduce development of Nature Island people education and training programs for schools and workplaces across Dominica. We will secure children from neglect and abuse. We will ensure adequate pay and proper working conditions for all public officers, starting with nurses, teachers, and police officers. We will increase the minimum wage to no less than $1,000 monthly, and we'll increase old age pensions from the public purse to no less than $500 monthly. As we reflect carefully on the necessity of restoring our independence, the United Workers' Party calls on all Dominicans to join the movement for real change to save our country. It's a collective responsibility in which your team of real change champions is committed to 10 priorities for government action. We will re-engineer all institutions of the state of Dominica, including the Integrity Commission, Judiciary, local government, the civil service, the Dominica Police Force, statutory boards, and the Electoral Commission. We will build a new economic framework. Ecotourism will be the lead strategy for tourism expansion, with development of water sports, a spa industry, and natural sites as important elements. Priority will be given to rebuilding manufacturing capacity and expansion and creation of industrial sites outside of Roseau. In conjunction with the State College and diaspora-based technology experts, we will facilitate the development of information technology parks. We will undertake a comprehensive review of the Citizenship by Investment program as a first step, followed by changes to the legal framework, program structure, and introduction of transparency and accountability mechanisms. CBI resources will be directed to enhancing local entrepreneurship in the form of co-financing mechanisms. Never again will any Prime Minister or Minister of Finance be able to divert billions of dollars from our passport money into private control. We will get the $1.2 billion missing from the 2018-2019 revenues and ensure that it goes to the benefit of all the people of Dominica. We'll manage our water resources, and we will create a water industry that has immense potential to be a major new pillar of the economy, and we'll commission a comprehensive study for the industry's development within the first 6 months of our administration. We'll develop a robust agri-industry sector. This is critical to value-added ventures in food crops, fruit, and essential oils. We'll develop a culture industry that will be a high priority on the economic growth agenda. An international airport will resolve air access challenges and secure a ticket to meaningful participation in the international trade of goods and services for sustainable economic growth. It will be funded with a multi-finance package that includes our own resources, grants from government partners and multilateral aid institutions, and concessionary loans. We will reorganize agriculture, forestry, and fisheries to realize 5 objectives. Enhance the capacities for food security and attention to climate-resilient crops. Significantly expand agriculture export performance with a mix of Nature Island branded organic fruits, vegetables, herbs, spices, and flowers. Implement an expansive agroforestry program. Expand capacities for fisheries development and explore blue economy potential, and develop a medical marijuana industry. Number 3, we will transform Dominica's energy sector by 100% generation from multiple renewable sources by 2023 and transition to majority of electric vehicles by 2030. We will consider a decentralized grid to be given priority as part of the overall climate resilience strategy. Number 4, we will undertake reforms in education that will restructure the primary and secondary curriculum to a greater focus on science, technology, engineering, arts and mathematics, STEAM, and greater planning in post-secondary training consistent with the skill sets required by economic development. Number 5, we will undertake a comprehensive approach to addressing the existential threats posed by climate change. Sea level rise presents the greatest challenge to our low-lying coastal communities, roads, ports, and other infrastructure. Further, warming oceans foster more dangerous hurricanes, which threaten our housing stock and food production. In addition, warm oceans will adversely affect coral reefs and pose problems for fisheries production. Creative models of sustainable management will be critical for more effective flood control and for better management of our rivers and reduction of erosion and degradation. Number 6, we will undertake a comprehensive reform that will significantly enhance universal health care in Dominica. Emphasis will be placed on a dynamic primary health care system in the districts across Dominica. A robust secondary care program encompassing all hospitals will be developed to complement the primary health care system. Number 7, with regards to our indigenous Kalinago people, an integrated sectoral development program will be implemented to address the quality of their housing, healthcare, education, agricultural production, and diversification and economic development. A Kalinago Development Bank will be established to build a wealth-generating capacity, provide soft financing through grants, and provide loans and loan guarantees for enterprise development, agriculture, and housing. Number 8, to advance our commitment to building the nature island of the world, government policy will be directed at preserving our island's ecosystems and natural resources and ensuring that environmental sustainability is a core factor in all development activities. We commit to developing and implementing progressive environment policies to the enactment of attendant environmental legislation to further consolidate Dominica as the nature island of the world. Further, we commit to translating provisions of international environment conventions into domestic legislation. Number 9, the threats posed by dangerous hurricanes in this era of climate change necessitate a total rethinking of the housing stock in Dominica and future housing development. A national housing strategy will be guided by the principles of sustainable housing development, namely minimal negative environmental impacts during construction, strict compliance with building codes associated with resilience to destructive Category 5 hurricanes, and the indispensable importance of planning authority approvals and supervision. There will be an appreciation for differential housing development models appropriate to urban areas versus those more appropriate to rural communities, and housing policy will pay greatest attention to families with the most critical needs for housing assistance. Further, risk posed to housing, such as storm surges in coastal areas and river flooding, will be accorded priority attention by the planning authorities. Number 10, we will lead a comprehensive transformation and diversification of our international relations that departs significantly from past bad governance in the conduct of Dominica's foreign policy and transitions from an obsession with aid to developing our capacity to trade. Of major priority is a leadership role in the regional integration processes of CARICOM and the OECS. Second is the importance of undertaking a new initiative for stronger diplomatic and cooperative relations with France that will allow for an integration framework with Guadeloupe and Martinique. The new direction in foreign policy will commit to a framework for expanded relations with the United States, China, Canada, the European Union, the Latin American states, Russia, and the Eastern European states, Turkey, the Arab Gulf, and other Asian states. The pursuit of a special relationship with the African Union and the individual African states will be a major plank of our diplomatic initiative. A more active posture will be pursued at the United Nations, the OAS, the Commonwealth, and other international organizations in the Group of 77 and the non-aligned movement. Further, we will renew and strengthen relationships with the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank and multilateral banks, the IMF, the World Bank, the Caribbean Development Bank, and the European Development Bank. The last 15 years of lost progress through the folly of governance systematically destroying independence and dedicated to uniting people with hate have reversed the clock on our civility. At this 41st anniversary of independence, let us leave behind the anti-independence and other divisions unconscionably imposed by the Labour Party administration and discipline ourselves to become the free, independent, united, peaceful, harmonious, self-sustaining nature island people that we truly are. Let us embrace the need for a national development philosophy that is in harmony with our true nature island character and identity and gives meaning and purpose to the agenda for change that will make Dominica the best place to live, the best place to work, and the best place to enjoy life. In the immortal words of our national anthem, we call the sons and daughters of this gem beyond compare to embrace this vision of hope for our nature isle of beauty. We urge our nature island people to stand resolutely in defense of our independence, to strive for honor, to do the right, to be firm and fair, to toil with hearts and hands and voices, to prosper and sound the call in which the truly independent people of Dominica will triumphantly rejoice, all for each and each for all. Happy 41st Independence Anniversary, my fellow Dominicans. Thank you very much, and may God richly bless you.